All right, everybody, this is just out of my mother's basement and into your heart. This is the second episode I've done so far, and it is February the 11th, 2023. You guys can call me Randall, or if you know me as Irish, that's cool too. Well, I'm gonna just start the episode up like this. So, like, I always like having nicknames or like a street name because if people only know your street name or you have like different names that you go by, you can always tell what friend you have from a different era of your life. For example, if somebody calls me Irish, I know exactly how long they've known me for. If someone calls me Randall, I know literally they've known me the least amount of all my friends. They don't know my real name. They don't even know my nickname Irish. They only know me through social media because I go by Randall. And it's kind of a fun feeling because when someone ever does say my real name, I'm like, oh wow, you've known me since before I was like a preteen. That's pretty fucking crazy. Or you just know me really, really, really well. Well, it's first thing in the morning for me, so I'm still sipping my first cup of water here. I've taken like three bongies, so my throat is like chimney fucking dry. But that's why I keep this eraser around for when I make a big mistake, and I think I just did one today by taking a bong before starting this fucking episode. See, the thing with these new just out of my mother's basement and into your heart fucking style of podcasting, I am gonna talk a little bit more about myself and not just like throw my mom under the bus for my stories. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fucking easy, and by some point in this episode, I will reiterate the time my mom fucking set herself on fire during the winter when we had no fucking power because it got cut off. Um, More for that later. But I do want to, talk about my life, my week, and things that I experienced. So this week was not, too fucking crazy for me. I totally did skip karate on fucking Tuesday this week. I just didn't want to fucking do it. Some days you're beat, tired, you don't want to go to a fucking dojo and kick and punch and scream and yell and fucking jump and jack and fucking push up and fucking sit up and fucking all the other fucking weird exercises they get us to do sometimes. Oh yeah. Oh, I need those morning neck pops. See, like I haven't even stretched yet. You know what I mean? Like I literally just got out of bed. Last night was pretty good for me though. Like all things aside, skipping karate on Tuesday was, that's that. I just stayed home and played Pokemon on the Game Boy. Speaking of Pokemon, I'm having a blast still playing fucking Pokemon Scarlet version. I got the futuristic one. Violet. No, sorry, I got Violet. Scarlet's the red one and takes place in the past. See, like I play these games, but even I'm like not like this close. If if people are getting this close to their phone or leaving messages, like that's not me with my Pokemon games here. I would say like the older I get a little bit more distantly. How to put this? Like it's not that I lose any love for it. It's just I don't spend as much time memorizing every Pokemon's name, what their fucking dex number is. I can tell right off the bat looking at a Pokemon usually what its stat build will be or its typing. But for the most part, I like if I had to name every one of the Pokemon from this generation just off of their look, like the look of them, I'd be so fucked. Even last generation, it's pretty bad. Like I'm not one of those people that can name every Pokemon. I even the first 150, I don't even think I can name right off the top of my head. And I've known them since I was like fucking 8 years old. I was literally playing Gold version this week, and I was fishing in an area that when I was a kid, I remembered catching a chinchu. I was fishing there for my whole fucking lunch break, plus the ride to work and home. So about a good hour just fishing in the same spot, and I caught a fucking Corsola. I forgot Corsola even fucking existed, right? So I'm like, that was cool. I caught it. I needed it for my Pokédex, but as soon as I caught it, because it doesn't evolve, I released it. So yeah, that was that. An old friend of mine named Tiny. Shout out to Tiny. He uh he started playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu version, and he wanted the version exclusives this week. And I was like, hey man, you don't gotta trade with somebody who has Eevee version. You just gotta, go on your phone, download fucking Pokemon Home, and then you use the fucking app and you can trade with other people like, easy. It's called the GTS, the Global Trade System. You put in a Pokemon that you have, like say I got a goddamn Bulbasaur and I put it in my little Pokeball and it goes onto my phone and then you don't actually use a Pokeball, just metaphorically speaking. It goes into the fucking phone computer data system. I say, hey, I want a Cyndaquil, and I get Cyndaquil back for my Bulbasaur because someone around the world is looking for a Bulbasaur and willing to trade their Cyndaquil, and it just uses the world's trading system of Pokemon till you get what you're looking for. So I told that to my buddy Tiny, and then within an hour he messaged me back saying he got all his Pokemon he wanted, except he wanted to have the ones where you trade them and it evolves and then you trade it back. So I helped him out with that, and then he was pretty happy. So I was glad to help out a friend in the smallest little way of a game in that I don't really play anymore. I won't say a game in my opinion that I don't play anymore. It's just it's a remake of Gen 1. Like there's so many times you can go back to fucking Kanto and replay that instead if you're not just gonna play Pokemon Yellow version. But yeah, that was that week with helping out my buddy when I skipped karate. Uh Thursday's karate class was pretty lit. They're having a in-house tournament at the dojo this month. Um, I'm not competing in the tournament. You have to pay money for it. I've been kind of broken or tight for cash rather, so I don't want to even have to spend any more money than I have to. I already spend $140 a month for karate, so I'm not doing this tournament this month, but a lot of the other students are, and they were doing mock style tournaments of sparring. That's one of the reasons I got into karate, to pretend to be a Power Ranger or a fucking Goku in the middle for an hour. It's like karate's great if you want to go somewhere and punch and kick fucking things and get some energy out and like at the same time it's cool because you do learn these katas, and as your like level of your belt goes up, people like you tell them, oh yeah, I got my green belt now, like I do, for example, and people are like, oh, wow, like that must have been so hard and so much time and dedication and discipline. The discipline thing for me, like I don't know, I'm a wild horse. Like you're never really gonna be able to fully tame me. You know what I mean? So it's not like that aspect of karate fucking implies to me. There's a lot of times where I'll watch like a UFC pay per view, then the week before I go into karate, and then I'll replicate things I saw on UFC, like techniques or strategy of going into the fight, because I see it as a very technical sport. You know what I mean? But then I imply that to my craft when I'm in the dojo sparring, and I find I do really really well. I also believe sparring and karate, like combat style sports, you either have it or you don't. Like some people just don't like to get hit. I particularly don't. I spend a lot more time outboxing and dodging and weaving and capitalizing. Like when you fucking are getting slower than me, and you make a throw and your arms out here. This is when I'm going for a punch at your head. Like I outbox. And it's called like outboxing. If you were a boxer, there's a thing called the triangle theory. Outboxers beat swarmers. Swarmers get beat by the clubbers, and the clubbers get beat by the outboxers. And yeah, but it's I think I fucked that up there, but yeah, it's like a little rock paper scissors. Basically, the concept is if someone's a clubber, they're really used to fucking just getting close. Like Mike Tyson's a clubber. He just hits them really hard. They get knocked out, and he just hits and swings for the fences. Now, someone that's just throwing really hard, heavy-handed punches are kind of like telegraphed, if you will. So if you're able to outbox and stay away from that, like Muhammad Ali would, or Floyd Mayweather, they outbox, they stay away, they dodge, and they try to get a win by points, not by knockouts. A swarmer is somebody that just throws a rapid bunch of punches, a fist of fury, if you will. Basically, the reason why the clubber beats the swarmer is because the clubber is used to getting fucking hard hits, and he's a clubber himself. The swarmer is just throwing punches for like just hoping for like a knockout swing. You usually see more swarmers in the lower weight division, not in like the heavyweights, if you will. But yeah, the swarmer gets knocked out by the clubber. The clubber can't outswing the outboxer, and then the outboxer gets not able to focus on the dodging as much because they get tired by it by the swarmer. So that's how the triangle works, if you will. Oh man, that bong here made my nose a little runny too. That's terrible. Wish I had some paper towel in here. So yeah, in karate class though, we were doing mock tournaments. I just played the role of head judge, so I this point is for red, this point is for blue. I look at the scoreboard. I tell the number keeper to keep the roll going until we hit to a certain point. and then they bow, tap gloves, and then the next person spars. So we were doing that for a karate class the whole time. That wasn't too bad, but the prize reason I was even there for karate was my sensei wanted me to help make a video for the TikTok to help advertise the dojo. So sensei, I'll put the video at the end of this video. Give me all the money. I'm not playing around. Ha! Okay. I don't want it. Leave me alone. I know I can't talk first thing in the morning when I wake up. I had some drinks last night too. Let's hang out with my buddy Cameron. This is a great way to segue into Friday because this happened yesterday and today's Saturday morning and the sparring was on fucking Thursday's class. So this is working out great. So yeah, I had some drinks with my buddy last night. I got some tattoo work done. I got this touched up. I know no one can. Oh wait, I don't know if anyone's a big fan of those movies or not, but I fucking love horror movies, especially the Blair Witch ones. Uh, I love the movie Scream. I love the Leprechaun movies, and that's how I'm going to segue into my next tattoo because St. Patty Day. Oh my God, I did it again. St. Patty's Day is coming up soon. And one of my favorite movies is the Leprechaun franchise, not only because it's a horror movie, but it's also, Irish, just like me, well, themed anyways. So yeah, I got this tattoo last night. My skin was getting a little irritated, so I couldn't patch it up to it as we wanted to, but I'm gonna get another session going in. But yeah, I'm proud of my fucking clover. Got a couple different tattoos. Clover's number 10. Should have been my lucky number 7, but what are you gonna do? So I think at this point now we should all start talking about because I think we're all caught up to what I did this week or what was important about it. I think we should tell one of my just shit my mom did stories. So I don't know about you, but have you ever had your power cut off like middle of winter? And I'm talking like December or January, whether it's a fucking snowstorm and there's a power outage, a blackout, or your parents just didn't pay the fucking bill because they weren't paying attention. But my family one year, we had our power cut off in the middle of fucking winter. So mom, tells fucking all of us kids that, come chill in the living room, get our little coats on because we don't know if it's going to be a long or cold night. And it's too late to go pay the bill, if you will, on time or whatever the fuck. So my stepfather Ferg has to go drive to the store. He has to get fucking, butane for my mom's lighter, candles, what stuff you get for you don't when you don't know how long your power is going to be out for maybe a night or the next 24 hours. Just precautions, you know what I mean? And it's not like there was a major panic or rush. It was just, my house. It wasn't like the whole fucking town was out, so everybody's rushing to the stores in a panic frenzy. So by the time my stepfather gets home, my brothers and I are sitting on the couch opposite to my mom. And now I'm gonna backtrack a bit because my mom, she wore this fucking like highlighter pink, yellow, and purple fucking puffy jacket. Like this thing was so embarrassingly bad from the early 90s or late 80s. And keep in mind, this is like 2000, about to be 2001, pre 9/11. That time, imagine remember what the fashion style was at the time, very dark colors, or like grays, black, white, a lot of shit like that, especially if you're not trying to dress like a fucking retard. And I know that's not a good word to say, but goddamn, my mom looked like a fucking cool, like, oh, it was just embarrassing. Like it'd be you could see my mom from like fucking 2 miles away walking, down the street or something. Like, oh god, there's my mom. Like, let's go this way, guys. Like, you didn't want your friends seeing your mom like that. But my mom would be like, it'd be lunch break at school, and my mom would show up and, oh yeah, guys, it's just in an area. I brought you some snacks from like the store, and like, yeah, every kid in school sees your mom in the most like embarrassingly like ugly tacky jacket. You're like, oh my god, why can't you just dress like a normal fucking parent or in like this normal time frame of like what year it is? That's a 20-year-old jacket. Why? And you get like embarrassment, you know what I mean? Just because you see these kids like looking, you're like, wow, man, my mom doesn't look like that. That's fucked. And you know what I mean? You're like, god damn. So keep in mind, my mom's wearing this jacket that I feel I've described well enough to make you maybe you understand I hated the fucking thing. And keep in mind, it's like puffy. It's like this fucking thick all the way around. And I don't know why she'd be wearing it, even when the power wasn't cut off in the house. She would still be wearing the fucking puffy jacket all the time, and it just would piss me off more. I'd just like bury my face into my fucking Pokemon Gold version, and be like, okay, at least I can get away. At least the mom in my Pokemon game dresses normal. Like, fuck. So Ferg gets back, and my mom's going to, light the candles, but like I said, he needed to get butane as well too. And because it's pitch black in the house, when my mom was filling up the butane, I guess it was spraying. Well, I know, I guess, I know it wasn't going into it properly, so it sprayed all up her arms like this, and her chest, and up this side too. So when my mom finally fucking struck the lighter, boom, like she went from fucking it went from pitch black in that house to legit. I thought the fucking company turned the power back on because it was bright again, like you could see the fucking walls, but at the same time it was like my mom starts like that, and she's like, she's almost like doing, like, the position, the moves to like make a fucking a snow angel. My mom's doing that, and like for the 2 seconds that, or like maybe a second and a half that we had light in the house, it instantly was pitch black again. And as soon as like it went pitch black, my mom stopped fucking, like, making the sound like that, and me and my brother start just fucking laughing so hard. Mainly one, because how fast she lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. Like it was just boom, like the light was there. Like it's like, did I die? Am I going to the white light? It just ecstatic shit. Two, for how many years my mom would always show us these, safety things, like, oh, if you ever get caught on fire, stop, drop, and roll. This fucking bitch gets set on fire by her own self, and she doesn't fucking stop, drop, and roll. Like, yeah, I don't know. And then because we're laughing, all of a sudden my mom starts crying. You guys are laughing at me. If I fucking die, you wouldn't care. And it's like, besides the first 2 points I just named, number three, she didn't even get fucking hurt, yo. Like, she didn't even burn off her eyebrows, fine. Her hair didn't even get singed. The jacket, perfectly fine. It survived too. And so, like, I should be fucking upset that the jacket didn't get burnt, but at least I found some humor in the situation at the time my mom fucking set herself on fire. Like, my mom's done a lot of randomly, you know, good intention things or whatever the fuck, and then just completely, fucked it right up. I'm gonna tell the story about the time my mom made our first tree fort. So I had to be about 4, maybe 5. Oh my god, my nose. It's all knees. I feel like I'm gonna do a snot rocket. This is like the worst podcast I've ever done because I'm all congested, and I sure next time I'm waiting at least fucking 2 hours before after I wake up to do a podcast. Don't worry. I spat in the garbage. I wasn't gonna fucking swallow a fucking porky loogie. Not on camera, anyways. So, my mom was just minding her own business, and me and my brother Jeremy are like, "Yeah, mom, we want a tree for it. Build us a tree for it." So she fucking talks to my stepdad Ferg and building a tree for it, which we ended up getting, like, like a fort built, but by Ferg, but it wasn't like this fucking what my mom ended up doing. So for some reason, my mom's ego-driven maniac ways, or maybe we were just harassing her that we wanted it like now, 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 and she couldn't just like, take us to a toy store. Like, I don't even know if they had dollar stores back in like '94, but I imagine they did. There had to be like a cheap toy section of some fucking a London drugs type store, a fucking a big gas station, if you will, somewhere that had some cheap toys. Like, why couldn't she take us and get us some goddamn water guns and have us distracted for the day, and take our mind off it? Go to a 7-Eleven, if you will, and get some treats, distract us. But no, my mom, she decided to build this tree for it. So she goes in her shed because I remember following her around while she was gonna build the damn thing, and there was like next to no pieces of fucking wood anywhere in the fucking shed. So why she didn't just wait till Fur got home to maybe even go attempt to buy some lumber or something. Um, I don't know. I can't tell you, but she tried to build a tree fort anyways. I remember her going and knocking on different neighbors' doors, especially like this guy across the street. His name was Joe. He was a bit of a like a fucking handyman type guy, and he gave my mom a bunch of more pieces of wood, enough to build like a fucking box type of shape thing. So my mom builds us this fort, and the fort is using it loosely because she had to nail it to one of the posts on the fence just for this thing to fucking stay upright. And it had like a hole at the top, which was big enough. Like nowadays, I could probably like stick my head in through it, and I'd probably come up to like here. Like I wouldn't be able to get all my shoulders through. Like you know what I mean? It's not that fucking wide, but small enough a kid could get through, but there was like no ladder. So like the way how you would climb up there is like you'd have to like jump and like use like the wall to like run your feet up. You know how you use your feet, you kind of like run up a wall when you're like holding on to something. You'd have to like get your way up the fucking hole up that, and when you'd be at the top of this uh fort, if you will. And it's like at best, if you took a large pizza box and you opened it up, that's how fucking wide this thing was. Like that was pretty much the size of it. This was like, maybe as tall as I am, 5 fucking 6, 5'7", maybe 6 foot at best. No, no, there's no way this thing was 6 feet tall. Yeah, so 4 to 5 feet fucking tall at least. Yeah, well the fence, yeah. So it at least had to be 4.5 feet. 4.5 foot tall by as wide open as a pizza box, and had a giant door frame, which is like that's describing it loosely. It was just a piece of wood covered halfway in, the other half was covered. I don't know. I can't describe the world's shittiest tree fort to someone who's never had it built by their mom who just couldn't wait for their fucking husband to come home. This is probably like the worst part. This is where everyone's gonna. Where if I had viewers, they dropped off. They're like, yeah, this story sucks, man. I don't want to listen to him fucking talk about a shitty tree fort. But the funny part was though, when my mom was sitting down building the fort, she sat on an anthill. So like after when it was kind of like partially done being built or halfway through, my mom starts yelling and flailing and screaming and swatting her body all over because she was fucking covered in ants. And I remember the best part was too, she's wearing a pair of like coveralls, so like she didn't feel them get into like her body till like they were like halfway up her the pant area around there. So she had to like strip down in the yard and run into the fucking house like half naked, and like I didn't even know why my mom was yelling and screaming until I saw like you know just 100 fucking ants just like sprawled out like where she was sitting. I was like, oh, my mom just fucking sat on an anthill. That's great. See, I remember people when I used to do the text versions of these stories. I think people really did enjoy the tree fort story because I think I told it better some ways when I have time to type it out and think about how I'm about to describe the story. Or I should maybe just stick to telling one story of my mom per episode. That way I can put more memory into when I originally told the story, because I want to retell it the way how I originally texted it, because or typed it. Yeah, typing is a better way to say that. Even though it was on dumb technology. Um, I get into a mode where I can sit down for an hour and type it out and really relive the memory and describe it in a way that I feel is a really descriptive word. There are times where I sit around for 2, 3 minutes and think of the best possible word to describe the event that I remember. So I don't want to do that when I'm sitting here and chit chatting and taking up your time. Because like, imagine if I wasn't talking and thinking for a word for even like 10 seconds. This is what like 10 seconds of dead air sounds like. See, that wasn't even 10 seconds, and that was terrible. Like, imagine having to listen to a podcast where I was like, I don't know what was the word again. I'd change the name to fucking Geezer McGee's podcast. Um, Speaking of geezers, my mom. Okay, she's not old, but she's getting up there. Her birthday was this month of this February. It was on the 2nd. I am trying to get my mom a. I know there's a particular movie she likes with Bill Murray in it. It's called What About Bob? But I know older 80s movies, you can sometimes find like a bundle collection where like on one case, or in one case they'll have like 3 or 4 DVDs, and they'll have a collection of movies. So I'm hoping to find a in a $5 bin. They usually have them. If not, I'm just gonna order online. And it's not about the price of it. It's my mom actually generally does want this. but she wants the movie What About Bob? But I know that she really likes Bill Murray, and her birthday is on Groundhog's Day. So I'm trying to find a DVD combo that has What About Bob and Groundhog's Day, and maybe with other Bill Murray movies in it too, in a 4 pack. And that one, I'll give her some little, chocolates. My mom likes, sugar. She's a fiend for the candy. So I know it's a little past her birthday, but we talked about it. She was totally cool with it. And she's like, yeah, if you can get me that, that'd be great. So I'm gonna try to get that for my mom for her birthday. She's 19 years older than me. I turned 33 this year, so do the math. I'm not the best at it. I think she's like 50 fucking four or something. Man, I've done my water. That means I gotta fucking wrap up this podcast soon. Yeah, speaking of that, I think I've just put myself on a train of mind or thought where I just completely went mind blank. I don't even know where to continue talk. I wanted to actually do talk about a few things though. I'd said during the week to a buddy that I wanted to talk about not like major politics on the show, but I did want to mention how I feel the world is very progressive, if you will. And I've noticed that the problem with very progressive people is they just never stop wanting to make something, they're just never stopping. It's just always it's got to be more progressive. They're never going to find it's like technology. It's just going to keep going on. They're never going to find a point where they're happy. They're content. Like I remember thinking back when the iPod first came out, and I was like, wow, nothing's going to get better than this. And now here we are with our fucking iPhones. You know what I mean? So who knows what the next progressive step of technology is going to be? But that being said, when I feel like some people or some things get just too progressive, and it almost seems like you're losing um oh, what's the word? See, this is why I rather type things out and have time to think about what I wanted to say. And um I basically used to feel like I was a very liberal minded person, but then I feel the liberal took their agenda and just kept on going left, and the middle ground got dragged with them. And then all of a sudden, I was standing here, and but the fence of what made me a conservative is now here. And I was like, my points didn't change or view. Like, I still feel like I should be a liberal minded person, but how come now my views sound so conservative? I'm like, that's weird. I don't know why, but and I do think it's because these things just get taken too far, too extreme. And when I say things, I mean like political agendas that are, you go to watch a movie or a show, and all of a sudden it feels like you're getting a lecture from the fucking writing team, and you're like, I just wanted to enjoy a show. What the fuck is going on here? Um, if you ever want to feel like something that was like that, but it's not too intrusive and it's a bit of a fourth wall break, anyone who's seen the ending of She-Hulk totally knows what I mean, where you're watching the show and all of a sudden it felt like the last episode was literally the fucking writing team kind of trying to take shots or like acting like we listen to you, we're in this together, from the writing team. And it's like, I don't think the next season of She-Hulk's going to do is, you know, good. Maybe people will watch it when they hear there's a bad cringy part, or maybe one episode will get more views than the, the other episodes will, because they'll, word of mouth will go around. I'm just gonna keep it to that because I don't want to make this podcast, if you will, a political, debate house or anything like that. But I did want to just say that I don't feel like I'm exactly a conservative minded person. I do feel like, though, if, say, the best way I try to explain politics in a way where it's not, I don't obviously have the right opinion, and I'm just trying to express how I view it, especially when I have to say, hey, I kind of vote conservative or whatever the fuck. But I put it like this: say there's a pie for fucking liberals and there's a pie for conservatives. The conservative people will realize, hey, someone had to fucking bake and, fucking make this. So when it does get cut up into equal pieces, if there's one piece that's the biggest, the conservative person would say the person who did the most work should get it. You know what I mean? Like, the power goes to the person who fucking eats. But I feel like, the liberal fucking pie, if there's a big piece, the person who made it would have to have everyone else vote to see if that person should get it. Or is there maybe someone say, well, I'm the hungriest. I didn't eat that long, too long ago. When did you guys eat? Now they're voting. Should the hungriest person, now get the biggest piece? And now the person who put all the work into making their pies, like, yo, I fucking made this, yo. Don't I deserve it? And I don't know. That's how I feel sometimes politics goes. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to really argue with you on it. And someone can even say, "Oh, dude, that's the worst fucking take I've ever heard on it." And I'll be like, you know what? It kind of is, but at least mine's not too intrusive and pointing, bad fingers at anybody. Like someone could say, "Well, hey, the conservative people, at least there wasn't no choice, and it was just always gonna, go to the person who did the work for it, the pie, if you will." But yeah, this is why I don't want to also talk about politics too much on my podcast because I think it'll just go in, I don't know, ranty directions where it's going to be off topic or not fun. I think all of you guys want to be here for fun, anyways. You want to hear more stories about my mom. You don't want to hear me go into a fucking rant about Justin Trudeau. And here's the thing, though. I think we generally all can agree, even if you aren't a fucking liberal, and even if you aren't a conservative, I think all of us as a group all can hate Justin Trudeau together. I think even the liberals are like, yeah, like I still want to be a liberal voting person, but can we just get somebody else other than Justin in there, like anybody else but him? And I think even conservatives would be like, yeah, you know what? We agreed to that too. So there's no reason why we can't have fun politically, debates around here if we're gonna, all be able to not get serious. Like as long as we're gonna, take jabs at uh, the candidates who are get elected, yeah, that's why not have fun with that. One of the things I do remember when Justin Trudeau was originally running to become prime minister was he did a boxing charity event against what is it, the Bloc Québécois, I think is the French political team. They had a charity boxing match and like they actually fucking like were swinging at each other. I remember that's when people generally liked Justin Trudeau. He was all like boxing people, hugging people in the streets, saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna legalize marijuana." And then look where it's been a long time since we liked that motherfucker. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's we'll end the political stuff there. I've almost been going on for almost 35 minutes now. I would like to give a couple shout outs to people that inspired me to definitely talk about things this week, or not even talk about things, just to just go out and do it. So, but shout out to Tiny for giving me time to kill time on this podcast, if you will, by talking about Pokemon for a little bit. Um, Shout out to my friend Tristan, who fucking I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but I know you got a bunch of face tattoos and piercings. Anyone who knows Tristan knows exactly who I'm talking about. Because yeah, we were talking about that a bit this week. So thank you for inspiring the political end of my show. Thanks to my mom for inspiring the middle half of the show. Shout out to Ryan Shaw. Shout out to Jordie the Greed father, Jordie Taylor. So there's this fucking dude. He is a fucking this guy's fucking jacked. Okay, like I used to go down to Vancouver and watch ECCW, and this guy came out one day, and he was just this guy was fucking intense. The way how like usually when you go to a wrestling show, when someone's trying to be a bad guy, they try to get like the crowd to be kind of intimidated by them. Like they'll act like they're gonna fucking smack you or get into an argument with you, but it's fake and kind of corny. Like you almost feel like you're chewing some bubble gum. You're like, that's some comedy humor right there. And yeah, like you don't take them seriously, and I don't feel like it's stuff like that that makes wrestling look fake and not enjoyable, and why people would change the channel if they saw it on TV. It looks hokey. So out comes this guy, Jordie, and just between his fucking tattoos, fucking how gently this guy can act like he's pissed off with a level of intensity where you're like, you know what? Maybe if he is fucking faking it, I don't want to fucking test him because this guy actually looks like he will push me down into my chair or get up in my fucking face and definitely say something that's, because he has a level of confidence in how he carries himself. He could probably throw an insult at you that will make you be like, oh, fuck, I got nothing. And you don't want to test it. You know what I mean? This guy's had, you can tell by when they're like someone's been a bad guy wrestler long enough, or if they're just good enough at it, they've had people say every fucking insult under the sun at them, and now there's nothing you can say as an individual that's even gonna get under this motherfucker's skin. So this guy Jordie Taylor, man, I'm telling you, I've been watching his career for almost like I think 10 years now. I'm surprised he's never been picked by Ring of Honor. I'm surprised he's never been scouted by different wrestling company. You guys can check him out on Facebook. He goes by Jordie Taylor. I believe he wrestles for Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling. I know he's BC local. Even if you're not into wrestling, just check out some of his promo work because this guy just understands how to like talk towards the camera and really make you feel like this guy's got a chip on his shoulder or a beef with the person he's trying to, set up a match with. And the way how he also self promotes himself at the same time while doing so is just, it's been fun to watch him not just always be good at the craft, but I've seen him perfect it over the years. It's weird when you see someone with talent never get acknowledged on a bigger scale. So I'm doing this on my small podcast scale to give Jordie a major big shout out. So anyone who's a wrestling fan that does listen to my podcast, or anyone who's just getting new into wrestling and they wouldn't consider themselves a fan, but they have kids and their kids kind of like wrestling and they want to go maybe see a local show for like 15 to 20 bucks. Totally try to find out where Jordie is wrestling at because the guy outside of the ring is a cool, great fucking guy. Plays a bad guy character, 100%. But outside of the ring, he is a fucking genuine human being. So shout out to that fucking dude. And also, I think that's a great way to end the show because I think anything now would maybe even ruin the moment I just put out there. So, this is just out of my mother's basement. Fucking, oh, I forgot the name of my show for a second because I used to do an older one and I almost did that. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna turn this outro into a mix of things. This is just out of our mother's basement and into your heart, blasting off again. This isn't Admin Rocket, but this is Randall fucking Barnes. You guys take care. So long. Ta ta for now.